can join us when they're ready. So, sitting in any comfortable cross-legged position that feels good. Lengthening the crown of the head away from the tail. And just take a moment to check in with the physical body. So noticing how you're feeling in the lower limbs and hips. You might rock a little bit from side to side or wiggle to feel if there's any stiffness or discomfort in the spine. Just checking in. Upper limbs, neck and head. And we'll start today by moving the spine from tabletop position. So the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Normal tabletop position, tops of the feet are relaxed. Neutral spine to start. And we'll move the spine with the breath. Inhaling top of the head and tail up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. On your own breath, try to move slowly so that you can feel everything that's going on. And you may experiment with shifting your weight back or forward over your knees or wrists to see how that affects the stretch that you get in the spine. So when I shift forward in this cat position, I feel more in the back of the neck or the upper spine. And where you need the stretch more, you can direct it in that way. Take 2 more breaths like this. Good. Take your knees wide, toes towards each other, and press your hips back towards your heels. You're going to actually press through the hands, some pressure, lengthen the tops of the feet and ankles, and then slide the arms out and drop the forehead or the chin if that feels good. If your hips are a lot higher than your heels and you feel pressure on your forehead, you can try bending the elbows and stacking their hands. Drop the forehead onto the stacked hands, that levels out the severity of the incline a little bit so that you can maybe feel more comfortable. Breathing into the back rib cage, trying to expand three-dimensional breath. You lift the head and walk the hands over to the right side of the body, keeping the hips where they are, stretching through the left rib cage. You can keep your head up if it feels more comfortable, or you can drop the shape down as well. And then we'll walk it over to the left, lengthening the space between your right hip and right armpit. Coming back through the center. Coming back into tabletop. Knees underneath the hips. Tuck the toes under and press your hips back towards your heels. Stretch out the space underneath the toes. Arches of the feet. And then we're going to keep pushing the hips up and back, finding downward facing dog. Here, keep the knees bent and the heels high. To start, you really want to focus on your hips moving up and back, belly towards the thighs. So you may want to shift weight, bending one knee and then the other, pedaling through the feet here. We're going to walk the feet towards the hands, coming to the front of the mat in a forward bend, feet underneath the hips, bend the knees to start. Let your spine round, drop the head. You can rest your hands on your thighs or you can grab opposite elbows. Put some gentle traction on the upper back. You may want to sway from side to side. And then we'll drop the tail and round through the spine, rolling up. And just the last thing to arrive. Shoulders can come up, back, and down. So you're at the top of your mat, standing. Just going to turn towards you so you can see better. And we're going to warm up the spine here. So we'll inhale, reach up, open the chest. And exhale, bringing the arms into a cactus position. Keep the neck long. Draw the shoulder blades down and back. Breathe. I feel like I have a case of the Mondays and no words. My words are not coming out, so I hope I can make myself clear. I'm going to reach the pinkies back, open the chest as we inhale, round the arms. Exhale, press everything forward, making this Halloween cat shape in the upper spine. And from here, it can feel good to rock the head from side to side. Kind of like you have a little pencil on your chin. You're drawing a smile on your chest. On the next inhale, we press the arms up. And exhale, I'll be your mirror, going over to the right side, reaching through the left fingertips. Inhale, up and out. Exhale to the other side. Center. We'll connect that movement with the breath. One breath for each movement. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, the elbows come down into cactus. Inhale, circle the arms. Exhale, press. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend. Inhale. Exhale, other side. Inhale. Exhale, the hands come in front of your heart. On the next inhale, we reach up. Take a slight back bend here if it feels good to do so. You can also take the hands onto the lower back for support. We'll take 2 breaths here. And as we exhale, we're going to bend the knees and move the belly towards the thighs before releasing head, neck, and shoulders. at the bottom. So bent knee, forward bend. You might bend and straighten alternate legs to lengthen the backs of the legs. Plant the hands. I'm going to step back into the top of a push-up or a high plank. If at any time it feels better to drop the knees here, you can do so. We are going to hold it for 3 breaths, lengthening crown of the head away from the tail. And then drop the knees if you haven't already done so. The toes are tucked. Keep the hips high. We drop just the chest and the chin to the mat. Draw the shoulder blades back, elbows towards the sides of your body. On the next inhale, slide everything forward. Relax the tops of the feet. Draw the shoulder blades back and you press up into cobra. Nice and slow. Try not to collapse through the shoulders. We want to press the shoulders down, lengthen the neck. Inhale here. As you exhale, the hips come back above the knees, so the hips are nice and high. And we slide our hands forward and drop the armpits down, chest down towards the mat, the chin possibly touching the mat. This is an extended puppy pose. If you have a pillow or something handy, you can put it underneath your hands or under the elbows to increase the space. Allow your upper back to find more extension here. We slide everything forward once again. Hands are in front of my chest this time, elbows on the mat, and relax the legs. And open the chest, drop the shoulders, but keep the elbows bent. So you are sitting like a sphinx. Mm-hmm. We'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders here. Keep drawing the shoulder blades back. Use the strength in your upper back to hold the chest up. And then one more time, we'll press into cobra. It might be a little bit bigger of a shape than it was last time. It may not. You can bend the elbows if you need to. I'm shifting my hips from side to side to add some stretch and movement into the hip flexors in front of the pelvis. Feel free to wiggle in your poses. Inhale here. Exhale once more. The hips come over the knees and we slide the hands away. Drop the armpits and the chest and chin into the mat. Extended puppy pose. Press ourselves back up. Walk the hands back towards the knees. We're going to tuck the toes under. Keep pressing ourselves back. So you maybe balance on your toes here. We're going to wiggle our feet a little bit wider. Turn the toes out and find our malasana or yogi squat. So elbows are going to come to the insides of the knees, palms pressed together. Hips are open. You may feel like the mobility of your ankles can be limiting. Sometimes we don't have enough compressive mobility or our Achilles is tight and the heels pop up. You can use your fingertips on the floor to kind of support you if you're not as solidly grounded. We are going to hang out here for a little while, so if you need to do like some weight shifts or wiggles, that's fine. Breathe here. Inhale. So we're going to plant the hands and stretch the backs of the legs. Inhale, we're going to sink the hips back down over the chest. Connecting it with the breath. Exhale. Stretch. Inhale. Lift the chest. 2 more times. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale in the squat. Lifting the weight forward. Feel your hands grounded into the floor. And bring our feet underneath the knees and walk ourselves out to the top of the push-up or a high plank. Again, dropping the knees if we need to. Inhale. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And on the next exhale, we'll send our hips up and back. Downward dog, you might want to step your feet a little bit closer to your hands coming from the plank. And again, it doesn't matter if your legs are straight. It doesn't matter if your heels are far from the ground. Just keep pressing the belly back towards the thighs, opening up your spine. Dropping down, knees underneath the hips once more. And we'll do 3 more rounds of the cat-cow breathing. Moving through the spine deliberately, connecting it with your own breath. And we hope it's starting to feel a little bit more fluid or a little bit more comfortable to move through the whole range of the spine. Anyway, we're going to find those little sticky spots, shifting your weight forward and back, noticing what feels good. And then come into a neutral spine. I'm going to sit on the mat. Taking the feet in front of the hips. So hands coming back behind you for support. Your fingers can point forward, sideways, backwards, whatever works best for you. And you're just keeping your spine pretty straight. And we're going to internally and externally rotate the hips. So try to keep your butt grounded onto the floor. Rotate from the hip, the thigh bone in the hip socket. For most of us, the internal rotation is going to be more difficult than the external rotation. just a matter of not using that motion as much. So it might not be completely parallel. I'm going to sit up and take the feet out into a V. This movement is going to go from the side of the mat to the front, side, back. So if your space is tight, it might not be a smooth, fluid movement, right? You might have to make adjustments, and that's okay. We're going to start here with this straddle stretch and trying to keep the spine straight and work at tilting the pelvis forward. So my tailbone is pointing behind me, not towards the floor. And you may just stay here, or you might start to walk your fingers forward. This doesn't have to be a big forward bend. You just want to feel some length in the backs of the legs. Keep the spine straight. And breathe. More breaths here. I'm going to start with the left leg first so that you can see me better. But if you don't want to turn backwards away from the screen, start with whatever leg is in front so that you can see. So we're going to bend the left knee or bend the first knee about parallel to the front of the mat and bend the back knee behind us in a similar shape, or maybe even exactly the same, but mine's not the same. And depending on your flexibility for internal rotation, usually the back hip feels a more intense stretch. We're just going to frame our hips forward and look in front of us, and perhaps take a gentle rock forward and back to ease into the internal rotation of the back hip. So we're just starting with this stag pose first. And breathe here. We come back through the same straddle that we were in before. Little forward bend, doesn't have to be very big. And then we'll take the same shape to the back of the mat. So for me, that's my right leg. You do whichever one you haven't already done. Find that shin parallel to the front of the mat, and then bend the back leg behind you in a similar shape. Square everything towards the back of the mat, and perhaps rock a little bit forward and back. Get used to the sensation of internal rotation in the back hip. Your hip might be lifted, that's normal. It could be flat also. If your hips are quite mobile, this might be no big deal. I'm going to come to the side again, and then the front. Here in the front, you can use your hands for support. To step the back leg forward, sitting on my back heel, what is now my back heel, and finding this compression in the front of the ankle, the same thing we used when we were in the squat. And then we sit back and swing the leg around. I'm using my hand for support here. Eventually, you can do this like holding the arms up, but use the support that you need until you find the balance and mobility to be able to do it without support. It's the process. So we shift everything to the back of the mat, stag pose, shifting our weight forward, using the right hand for support if you need it. Step onto what was the back foot, sitting on your heels. So we're stretching the top of the back ankle and sink into this knee for mobility in the front ankle. And then we shift it all back into the stag, open to the side. Do it one more time each side. So find the stag pose. Hips are starting to hopefully get a little bit more mobile, less sticky. Step. Call this a fisherman squat, but I don't know why. And then back. Straddle to the back of the mat. Fisherman squat. Back. And open. Yes. We'll do it one more time, I think, but while we're here in the straddle, let's open the chest, creep our chest forward, go a little bit deeper into the forward bend. Smooth breath in and out through the nose. Feel through the spine. So we're going to go one more time on each side with the fisherman squat, and then we'll add one more level at the end. So shifting to the front of the mat, into the stag, stepping that back leg over, finding the fisherman squat, and then we want to shift our weight into the leg that has the foot on the floor so that we can come into malasana or yogi squat. And again, you might need to support yourself with your hands on the floor, that's fine. Press up and sink down. We're in a squat. To put it back, we shift to the same leg, drop the shin. Again, you can use your hands. And then this leg comes back, stag, V. To the back, stag, fisherman, yogi squat, fisherman, stag, and V. And the hips feel warm, usually. Should feel warm from there. We're going to take the soles of the feet together. You can bring your clasp to the middle of the foot, so thumbs in the arches of the feet. You can grab the ankles. You can grab around the toes. Whatever feels good. Lengthen the spine and just pull your chest through. Trying to pull the chest forward, not down towards the ground, but forward. And breathe. You might be flat. Some people are completely flat here. So wherever you're at, just take the cobbler's pose. And release. And we'll come to lie down on the mat with our feet close to our hips. knees bent. Take your time. Release the spine. Feet close to the hips. Take a breath here. Reset. We did a lot of extension or back bending in the upper part of the spine, so we want to do some in the lower part of the spine as well. We're going to start by just moving the pelvis while keeping the hips on the floor to start with. So what that looks like is I rock the pelvis forward so that my tailbone and sitting bones, the bottom of my butt, are moving towards the floor, making a little arch. And then I flatten my lower back into the floor. So tilt the pelvis in the opposite direction. So just back and forth, rocking the tailbone towards the floor, and then pressing the lower back into the floor. And you might notice, because we can think of our pelvis and our head as like two round balls, two spheres on a string, which is the spine, or on a pole is maybe more accurate. When you move the pelvis, it also causes your head to rock. Right? It pulls on the spine, and the head also moves. You can allow that to happen by relaxing your jaw and neck. And you can even emphasize it a little bit, looking at the belly when you drop the tailbone, lifting the chin when you flatten. Because there's a thick line of fascia that runs up the front of the body from the pelvic floor all the way to the jaw and connects behind the ear. And releasing the pelvis while being also connecting the neck and head movements can relax a lot of tension in the jaw. Okay, we'll neutralize the spine. There's a small curve in the lower back. Make sure your feet are nice and close to your heels. Just relax your arms by your sides for now. And we're going to start that shape. Drop the tailbone, round the lower back, and then press through the heels, allowing the hips to rise up into your bridge. Push, push, push. Hold the hips up nice and high. You'll notice naturally your chin tucks towards the chest. Same movement as before. And then when we go back down, we're like, imagine that we can drop from the top to the bottom one vertebra at a time onto the mat. It's not easy or even possible necessarily to move in that way, but we're trying to isolate the spinal joints, which means that we come through this very flat, pressed down shape before we relax the glutes and come into a neutral spine. Do it one more time. So we start by tilting the pelvis forward, lifting the tailbone. Then we drive through the heels. Your glutes become active, the backs of the legs. Press everything up. Peel the spine up off the mat. Press through the heels so that the thighs also lift. Breathe. And then from the top to the bottom, imagine you can drop one vertebra at a time onto the floor, which requires you to actively hold your glutes off the ground until the very last second. Release and then floor knees into the chest or belly. We'll take a little rock from side to side. And then drop the knees off to the right side of your body. You can use your right hand to press the left thigh down and rotate through the upper body, looking out over your left thumb. Spinal twist. And back to the center, pulling the knees towards the chest. Maybe take a little rock from side to side, massaging the lower back. And then drop the knees to the left side, left hand on the outside of the right knee to press it towards the floor. Unwind the upper body, looking out over the right thumb. And once again, coming through center. And then rolling over onto one side and pressing yourself up to sit. So you can find a comfortable cross-legged seat. And I'm also going to grab a cushion. If you have a pillow or a cushion nearby to elevate your hips, I recommend it. It's not a matter of your hips being loose or open or closed, open or stiff, but more that when our hips are elevated and the knees can drop down towards the floor, we're not compressing so much our diaphragm, so we can breathe better. That's why monks meditate on cushions. It's not because they're not good at sitting in meditation positions, right? Lengthen the crown of the head away from the tail. Make any small movements that feel good, maybe in the neck or shoulders. Get your wiggles out. Bring index fingers to thumbs, bringing the backs of the hands to the knees. And we're just going to watch the breath for maybe 10 rounds of breathing. So softening as much as you can the throat, chest, abdomen, rib cage, allowing the breath to flow evenly and naturally. And just pay attention to the path it takes in and out of the body. When your mind wanders, it's fine. You just shift your awareness back to the breath. Release the breath. You can close your eyes if you have not already done so, bringing the palm of the hands in front of the heart, thumbs lightly touching the sternum. Take a moment once more to check in with the physical sensations in the body. Noticing sensations that are present in the lower limbs and hips. Differences that you might feel, whether positive or negative. Just observing with some detached interest what's going on in the physical body at this moment. Noticing sensations present in the spine and the muscles connected to the spine, abdomen and chest, upper limbs, especially shoulders and wrists, and neck and head. Awareness of the state of the physical body, awareness of the state of the natural breath, and awareness of the state of your thoughts. And as we bow forward, the thumbs lightly touch the third eye center. Pranayama sets that. And thank you for practicing with me.